Welcome to another episode of the Awakening Woman podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten. In today's episode, we're chatting about 4 victim traps that I see with women who are in destructive relationship patterns with a long-term relationship partner. And when I say this, I am not intending to say that women who've been in abusive, toxic relationships have not been victimized, because when we're not aware of what's happening, and we are continuing to be abused, or you have someone stronger over you that is physically abusing you, and you're not fully aware of what's happening, you're being victimized, right? A young child or a kid or a teenager that doesn't have the wherewithal to understand what's happening, they're being victimized. This is not to say that you have not experienced what you have experienced. There's one thing to have been victimized, and another to continue to live in victim consciousness within it and beyond the situation once you have left. Many women will leave a relationship like this, but continue with their victim consciousness. They will continue regurgitating stories about their ex, and he did that, and he did this, and they're focusing on what they're doing. You cannot heal in that. You can only heal when you can forgive and move past. And yes, I mean forgive as in releasing the past, releasing all of that's happened, owning whatever your role was in continuing to perpetuate the patterns, even if it was staying and trying to fix someone that is not wanting to be fixed. And so please keep that in mind as you're listening to this, that I'm not in any way trying to minimize what you've been through by saying that you are living in a victim consciousness. But what I do know is that if we are stuck in victim consciousness, our bodies will get sick, our minds will not be well, we won't be able to reach the levels of growth, success, finances that we want to have when we're in that. We won't be able to have healthy relationships, because people that are in healthier mindsets are not going to want to be around a complaining person that is in victim mentality, someone that is continuing to spin the stories of everything. So there's this meme I saw on Instagram about, here's the friend that has listened to me vent about my relationship for the past, whatever it was, 20 years or something crazy like that. And that's all cute and great, but I can tell you most friends will get worn down when all you're doing is talking and venting about your abusive relationship, your abusive partner, and even just complaining about a partner in general. It's one thing, I think, with girlfriends, you're kind of just making jokes, but I think as a whole, it's not a good thing to be talking negatively about a relationship partner to other people. That doesn't mean that you don't want to have support. Of course you do. I'm a very big fan of having professional support, that you pay to get support outside of your key relationships for this. So you're not wearing people down and making people want to run away from you because they feel their energy being drained because you're in a victim state. Okay, and you cannot change your life from a victimized state. And I see this a lot of times in comments when I'm posting about, how women can get out of these situations. And it always brings out the ones who are not going to be able to get out of the situation. It's unfortunate and it's sad, but it's, I can't save everyone. Like, not everyone wants to be saved. Not everyone wants to change. And some people will resign to, I just have to stay. It is what it is. Everyone has choice. You have choice. And so it's really important to step into realizing that we all have choice. All right. So someone posted on my most recent Instagram about the blog, Why Women Stay in Narcissistic Relationships for Decades. It's a Medium blog. And so then someone commented, I'm so sick of this advice to just leave and find your power, which I did not say anything about telling women to leave. I was highlighting where women get stuck and why so many women stay for so long in these relationships. And she's saying, I have the power, I have the will to leave. What I don't have is double the income to support my kids. Marriage is a trap. A losing ability to provide for kids financially is a real legitimate reason some of us have to continue riding the narcissistic chaos waves. Does that sound like a woman that is in her power that has will. No. I have seen women come from literally nothing and leave these relationships. So it's about the mindset you choose. That is that person's mindset. No one is here to try and change her mindset. I certainly am not. I'm not in the comments coaching her how she can get out of that mindset. She's stuck in that mindset. That is her free will. That is her choice. Some people are not meant to evolve and grow. They will stay stuck in their story about how they're trapped and how they need double the income and that marriage is a trap. But we need to look at, how did I trap myself? Listen, how the fuck did I trap myself? Well, I got with this person. I had a bunch of kids. And I allowed myself to be financially controlled and become financially independent. And I got myself in this position. Yes, we can say, oh, the narcissist did this and they sold me a bill of goods and they sold me this vision and then they turned out to not be that person. Okay. You still, as the empowered woman, have to take ownership for how you got yourself in that situation, because guess what? If you don't, you're going to jump right back into another situation, different face, maybe a little bit different strategies that they will use, but you'll find yourself experiencing the same exact thing because you have not changed your consciousness, how you see it. You cannot change from the same level of consciousness that got you where you are now. You can't create that next level version of you from this same level of consciousness, from that person's level of consciousness. She spoke as if that was fact. That is her reality. And I want you to look at, okay, this isn't to diss anyone. It's just an example. Where do you see yourself in what she said? Do you have a similar story like that? That is her story. Another woman's story is, I have to figure this out. How am I going to make the money? I was one of those women, so I don't speak out my butt. I was one of those women. So I have understanding and I have a lot of compassion, but I also know what it takes to get yourself to become that woman that money is not the barrier and that you're determined to figure it out. So here are the 4 biggest money traps I see. Sorry, not money traps, the 4 biggest victim traps that I see. So the first is money. So this really reflects in what I just shared. Do you feel trapped in this because of money only? And if that's the truth and that's your reality, then I invite you to, rather than use it as a reason you're staying in something that's not good for you, that is toxic for your children, that is making them have mental health issues, you have a duty, an obligation to figure out your money to get your kids out of that situation. I know that sounds harsh, but it's the truth. Your kids aren't going to care that you stayed and left them in harm's way because you couldn't leave because of money. The damage is still done regardless, and then that gets passed on to future generations. So that is some tough love. If that's where you're at, that is my advice. Spend the next 6 months, a year. That is your only focus, is getting yourself in a position to be able to free yourself and your children. If that's what you want, maybe you don't. Another woman commented her story about how she tried to leave, but she went back because it was just easier. That could be your story too. So what do you want your story to be? What do you want your future to be? This woman was talking about now they just live really separate lives and they're accepting of that, and they live their own lives and their children are grown. Okay, that's her choice, 100%. This is what I mean when I've said everything is choice. She's choosing that, another's choosing to believe that she's trapped, that marriage is a trap, that she has no way out. What story are you believing right now about this? And what story do you need to rewrite to open yourself up to possibility of something different? The next is health. So this is another one I see with women. I have to stay because my health. If I'm having a hard time or I'm in bed for days because of my health, I don't know how I'm going to take care of the kids. I don't know how I'm going to go to work. If I'm having a flare-up of this or that ailment, or I'm so sick and mentally unwell, how am I going to do this without my spouse? but they're not realizing that they're in this position because they're in this position. They're in this health position because of the relationship. The relationship is stealing their life. It is sucking them dry. It is taking their health. It is destroying them from the inside out. So what they don't realize is getting out of that toxic soup of all the manipulation and abuse and dark energy. That's what's going to heal them, because as soon as they get out of that, they can start to improve. They can start to feel improvement in their health. They can start to feel their mind clear and the depression lift, because they're not in that. They're not mired in that every day. Even if you're going about it thinking, oh, we're living separate lives, I'm just kind of doing my thing over here, it has an impact. Your body is telling you that. You can lie to yourself all you want, but your body is telling you that. Your depression is telling you that. Your anxiety is telling you that. Your feelings of like, I don't have the will to even like do all of this because it's too much. That is telling you that something is very wrong. I've seen this with very successful women, very successful in their vocation and in their career. But when it comes to this and actually getting out, they're like, I can't even like fathom this. This is way too much. This is too much. And they just, they show up to work, they do the things they need to do, and with the kids and all that. And then they start having health issues. And like their back will go out. They start having menstruation issues, irregular, erratic, abnormal bleeding, migraines, different ways that the body will scream at us to say, something is wrong. Not only that, your kids, how are they doing? I don't like to hear women saying, oh, the kids don't know what's going on. Like, I do pretty good protecting them and they don't know what's going on. Yes, they do. Do your kids seem like they're doing mentally well? Do they complain of tummy aches and headaches and not wanting to go to school? Are they showing signs of acting out? Please don't live in denial that has nothing to do with the relationship environment. They are worse off because they don't understand what is happening. You think you don't understand what's happening? Then 100 multiply that one for children, because they don't understand what's happening. They just know, these are my parents and I don't feel safe in this environment. I don't know who to go to because mom's over here struggling, not doing well. She's checked out and dad is, I'm scared of him. They don't know where to go. They are alone. And so you have to be the one to put the oxygen mask on yourself, get out of your victim trap, and start stepping into your power. That's the only way. And don't stay for your children. Find the reasoning why you need to leave this for your children. Because if they are struggling and suffering, they're just going to continue to decline and get worse as well. Unfortunately, I've seen this firsthand, and it is very heartbreaking to see the effects staying in this has on kids later in life. The third victim trap is blame. So you're blaming everything on the outside for why you're in this relationship and why you can't leave. It could be your partner. It could be money. It could be your health. It could be literally anything. Blaming. I see a lot of women doing this, like, oh, he got me trapped in this. He did this. He did that. Well, no, you have to look and take self-ownership for how you got in this situation. You have to take ownership for your part of how you got here. Because then you got to reverse engineer that and also learn how to not do this again, how to not repeat this again down the road. So when we're blaming, we're out of our power. When we're blaming, we're in victim mindset. We're not taking any accountability for ourselves when we're blaming. And then the fourth is learned helplessness. You may have learned this in your formative years, that it doesn't matter what I do, nothing changes. And you've lost that inspiration and that momentum for creation, for doing something differently, for stepping into a new level. You feel like there's nothing you can do to change your situation, so you just get up and you go to work and you do your thing and you come home and you deal with the kids, you deal with the home life, you go to bed, you get up, You do it again. You deal with your spouse. You don't even know what you don't know right now. And you're so busy with everything else that you feel like, oh, I can just put this off. I don't want to deal with this because I don't want to blow my life up right now. You imagine that everything is just going to get way worse when you make that decision. And so you don't do anything. And you just resign yourself. And maybe you pour another glass of wine or eat some more sugar or whatever your vice is. And you put your head in the sand and remain in denial and keep telling yourself it's not that bad. Because you don't feel like you have the power to change your situation. This right here is the core of the victim consciousness. And your children, that is how they feel. And so they're learning this for their future. Like especially our girls, they're learning right now what that feels like. And then they will be drawn to a relationship down the road that feels like that takes their power, that takes their agency, that takes their will and their freedom of choice to choose for themselves. They will find themselves trapped in a relationship and they will put themselves in a position to not be able to financially support themselves unless you turn the bus around now, especially if you have younger girls. Turn the bus around now and say, this will not be my kid's story. And that's my call to action for you. If you want help with this and you want powerful mentorship from me with my no bullshit guidance, just like this is how I direct women. It may not always come out super smooth and easy to hear, but these are things I once needed to hear from a powerful woman that was years above me. And I know that that's true for the women that come into my world. They want the truth. They want to see where they can grow. This is not true for everyone. The ones that are not in that place will be offended by this message that I am victim blaming, that I don't see, but what about this? What about that? What about you don't understand? I do understand. Believe me, I do. And so if you're ready to actually rise above this and move up the scale, move up and level up, then I invite you to, there's a couple of things you can get on the list for the October Relationship Clarity Bootcamp. I just ran this and have been getting feedback from women that it is mind-blowing and completely transformed how they see their situation. And I'm running it one more time live, and then I think I'm just going to put it on sale on my website after this because I know it's that deep, it's that profound, but I'm going to run it one more time for free. And you can sign up at the link in the show notes. You can also jump into the 5 levels of Awakening to Relationship Clarity audio. This is a brand new audio I created where I'm teaching you about the 5 levels of awakening. You can sign up for that as well in the episode show notes. And you can get on the wait list for the next round of my program, End the Cycle. This will be the November cohort that I will be opening up at the end of the upcoming boot camp. So I'll be opening it up toward the end of October to start in November. So those are some ways you can jump in and work further with me if you feel called to do that. All right, that wraps up this episode. I hope this has been helpful and there's been some part of this that has helped you in some way, shape, or form. And if it did, please take a moment to leave a 5-star rating and a written review in iTunes on the podcast. I so appreciate the feedback. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.